Namaste and welcome. Previously we talked about two different approaches or two different attitude towards our lives. One is a consumer approach or consumer attitude, and another is producer attitude or producer approaches. Uh, and we also talk about how we can, our direction of life, how our lives changes with these two different attitude, two different approaches to our lives. And today we are going to talk about the source of happiness and how the mind experiences happiness. Remember, happiness is a state of the mind and, and mental modification. It is common to see that many people, many human beings remain unhappy, remain unsatisfied, and even after consuming so many things, but some human being living a happy life, even with a minimum minimum external things. So happiness is a state of mind. So here discussion is the source of happiness, how we can our mind, that means our mind can experience a long lasting happiness instead of momentary pleasure, momentary fleeting excitement. Remember, true happiness comes from serenity of the mind. True happiness is peace based happiness. Happiness comes from excitement only for momentary. Excitement is a huge flow of thoughts, uh, sudden huge flow of thoughts. Those are like a huge wave, and that rise and falls within a very short period of time. The true happiness comes from serenity of the mind, peace of the mind. So we all, our effort is to end our sorrow and to be happy. If we also discussed that every behind the reason behind our every activities is to end our sorrow, end our misery, and to be happy in our life. So where we can experience, where we can find happiness. In fact, when we examine, when we look happiness from the external world, we can get momentary pleasure, we can experience momentary pleasure, and we mostly experience pain, sorrow, misery, because those external things are impermanent, transient, and momentary. That's why even we get a thing we discussed previously, even we get a thing or enjoy a food or enjoy a vacation, enjoy a holiday, enjoy a delicious dish, those are momentary, and that's why it is okay, it's okay to have a delicious food or to go to some place. I'm not talking that you don't need go, don't go anywhere or don't eat delicious food, but when we seek, when we search happiness from those things, when we says those things as a source of happiness, we are going to experience pain in our life, because those are momentary, impermanent, and transient. And when the mind says ever changing things, it is going to be painful. So where is the source of happiness? Our true nature is the source of happiness. Shocking. Initially, I was also shocked about this. But when investigate, we investigate carefully, analyze with all those, investigate with our own experience, then we can know, we can find that our our nature is happiness. Difficult to believe. We will have a idea about this. We are going to talk about this, an idea about. So we are going to have a little idea why this is true. All the misery begins with our wrong identification. When we identify ourselves with this limited body mind complex, all our misery begins. We are not identifying with our true nature, that we are one with that Supreme Lord. You may have different name, you can give different name to that Lord. You may call God, you may call Ishwar, Bhagavan, you may call Allah, you may call Khuda, but whatever be the name, there is no different Lord for different human being. And that Lord, that God is omnipresent. We always focus on, concentrate on our body mind complex. That's why we are ignoring our true nature, that we are one with that reality. We are one with that God in that reality. And which, if you look at our body mind complex, body is nothing but a, we borrow this body from the nature and one day we have to return it to this nature. Mind is nothing but a continuous flow of thought. There is no particular shape of thought in the mind. What we put in our mind, it takes its shapes. And today's science also creating artificial intelligence. They are also able to. AI also have intelligence, or they are behaving like a mind. They have a artificial intelligence also can think, but one thing is missing. That is consciousness. Not consciousness, body conscious or mind conscious. It is eternal conscious, witness conscious, and that initiate our life. Because of that eternal consciousness, we are experiencing life, and those AI having body, having a mind, intellect, but is lifeless, are lifeless. So, with that eternal consciousness, we are experiencing life. So, our that true nature is our nature is bliss, Ananda Sarupa, and that is analyzed, investigated, analyzed, and examined in Taittiriya Upanishads. Analyze this level of different level of happiness and the source of happiness. And our true nature is divine. When the mind becomes pure and pure, it reveals our divine nature. That's why Swami Vivekananda tells that we need to manifest the divinity that is already existed within us. We just need to manifest the divinity by purification of the mind. And when the mind comes closer and closer to our true self, true nature, this is our nature is bliss, Ananda Sarupa, and mind becomes pure, more and more purified. We are experiences more and more happy in our life. How it can be purified? With good attitude, with moral value. That's why it is always told that before getting external worldly thing, we need to purify our mind, and we need to use our intelligence, pure intelligence, not those those kind of intelligence used by a thief or a criminal. Those are not pure intelligence. Those are actually foolishness. A criminal is always going to be punished. Similarly, a thief or a robber is always going to be punished, and they are can't escape from the fear, from their inside fear. They can't escape from the inside fear. So those are actually not intelligence. We have another discussion about what the different kind of intelligence. Those are actually not intelligence. Those are actually foolishness. So, which pure intellect, arising of pure intellect, we can understand that our moral value, moral attitude can give, which moral value, moral attitude, and our action with moral attitude, moral value, we can have a happy life. We can be happier in life. That's why many human beings living with minimal things, minimal external things, minimal small house with minimum gadget or things in their house, but they live happily, peacefully. That's why those are actually wise men. We can say their intellects are pure intellect. Their intellect helps to understand that the truth behind all these happenings in front of us. So it is always said that we need to be first convinced by our intelligence. Oh, this is right, and when we convinced by our intelligence, we follow that path. Another statement is given in Kathopadishads. The path of pleasure and path of preferable are not the same. They both paths motivate us with two different ways and lead us to different way. One is path of pleasure and what is path of preferable. What is good, what is right, what is preferable. And this is part of preferable is can be understood by pure intelligence only. So what is part of preferable, what is part of good, what is part of right. It is which part of pleasure we can get temporary pleasure, excitement, or this kind of things. But those are not satisfying by seizing the. Remember the word seizing. By seizing those things, we are going to lose in our life. You are eating a delicious food, you move to a nice place. I am not talking about this. I am talking about seizing those pleasure. So seizing those pleasure, following the path of pleasure and following the path of preferable good, what is right, is different. And this takes us to the auspiciousness, and when we follow this path, we are going to lose with tension, frustration, dissatisfaction, meaninglessness. So, and one other thing is happiness and satisfaction are closely related. Satisfaction with uh, peace of mind are closely related with each other. So, in relation to previous discussion, so we first try to understand with our intelligence, with our that with investigation and our own experience. We can take other example also, but we need to examine with our own experiences. And when we convince by our intelligence, we need to follow that, and we need to repeat that again and again to make a habit, to make a samskara in our life. And in relation to our previous discussion, we talk about producer approach and consumer approach. And when we become a producer with moral value, with moral attitude towards life, we are going to experience a happy life, satisfied life. So again, we have to think about this, convinced by our intelligence, examine ourselves, and if necessary, can take look at the surrounding, take as an example. And when we convince, we need to repeat that again and again and make that a habit for us, samskara for us. And in the next discussion, we are going to talk about our nature of a human being and purpose of a human being, true purpose of a human life. And that makes can give us satisfaction, happiness. We are going to dive another area in connecting to this in connected to this, and we are going to dive into another area in connection to this. Thank you for listening, and I welcome you again to be a part of this journey to make a better world. Thank you.